should be live.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. It is again Friday, the 20th, and we are again getting close to the end of the month. Again, another month. Time flies. So, as usual, our little mantra is the slaughterhouse of failure is not in our destiny. We shall persevere until we succeed. It's Og Mandino. But then with the little twist that Dan gave it, is the slaughterhouse of failure is in our destiny if we choose to quit. You can only fail if you quit. Today we're going to talk about, which is a subject that Dan's brought up, being kudos, Dan.
We're laughing because we had a funny talk about that last night, how he says it's always my topic.
So Dan brought up the subject about people with growth mindset think in these 10 unique ways. He's chosen this as a thought, as a subject for today. So we say, well, do you want to succeed in life? Do you want to be a better person? All starts with mindset. Growth mindset is the belief that you can get better at something by working hard and not giving up. People with a growth mindset aren't afraid of challenges or failures because they know that's how they learn and grow. Out of the 10 things we're going to talk about today, we're going to just briefly touch these two. So the first one is effort. And I just want to kick the ball off with effort. Dan can read what Carol Dweck says, but I just want to think about this. You know, I remember the first thing about effort was in school, when some of the teachers, particularly my maths teacher, would say, you're not putting enough effort into this, put more effort into it. And I disliked my maths teacher. And therefore, I couldn't put the effort in because I had a disdain for her. It was a self-inflicted wound. So she actually taught me something. Today, I've learned that if I can find anything inspiring at all in the task ahead, I can put the effort into it. Effort starts with feeling energized about something. If you're not passionate about something, you don't have an energy for it, you're not interested in it, you won't put the effort into it. So today, in my opinion, we're here to inspire individuals to see the advantages and possibilities of what we do so that they can put all the effort into it, put your shoulders behind it. My math teacher taught me to have empathy. She didn't have any empathy. That's why I didn't like her. She was just cut and dry math. So I've learned what not to do. I've learned to have empathy and to help people find something in there that will inspire them to put the effort in. And just a quick thing as an example, as a one more thing. There was a person that was a Marine colonel, and he is very successful. He was very successful in this business. And he was recruited by a person who came to Florida, much like Vince does. He drove from, I don't know where, Washington State, and he did 200 calls. And the last one in the parking lot at 10 to 5 in the evening he was just sitting in the parking lot, just about to throw his arms down and said, what the hell? I mean, I drove down here, did 200 calls. I haven't really done anything. And he said, what the hell? And he walked into this pharmacy that was John Whitaker's pharmacy at 10 to 5 in the evening. And he talked about the scanner. That was like the last effort he was going to make for that trip. And he'd been on the road for days. Relative success, but nothing really good. And the last one, that last push, one more. I'll give it my last effort, my biggest effort, the last one, and then I'm going home. And Whitaker then became a huge success. Huge success. Team elite, team elite, team elite, lots of them. So the point I want to make is that effort is something that we all can make if we find the reason to be excited about something. And it's up to us to help people find the excitement in whatever it is we're doing. Dan.
You know, Lawrence and I started doing these calls together now, I think 4 years ago. And I believe it was Jim Trainer asked me either last week or a couple weeks ago, you know, when did this turn into a mindset call? And, you know, it kind of evolved into a mindset call because Lawrence and I, you know, just conversations that we had about, you know, what differentiates those who are successful from those who aren't. And reading Carol Dweck's best-selling book about mindset, really for me hit home the importance of having a growth mindset. You know, so if you want to succeed in life, or if you want to become a better person, the secret just may be your mindset, and most likely is the secret to your success. You know, why are some people more successful than others? I haven't come across anybody who's been really, really successful that didn't have these 10 things that we're going to talk about over the next couple of weeks. You know, effort's the first one that Lawrence wanted to talk about. And while we were talking for this call last night, you know, kind of preparing for it, I said to Lawrence, I said, you know, I've really never failed at anything. I mean, sure, I've failed at things, but I don't look at them as failures. The only thing, I said to him, the only thing that I have ever failed at is playing guitar. For whatever reason, I can't do it. But ultimately, it comes down to passion and effort. You know, have I made the effort to actually learn how to play guitar? Is that something that's going to enhance my life? Why do I want to play guitar so bad? I may not want to play guitar for the right reasons. And so I'm not putting in the effort to learn how to play guitar. You know, I'm not putting in that consistency and that discipline that it takes to be successful. I'm not putting in that sustained effort over time. And sorry for my dog in the background. She's that's Birdie. She's putting effort into something, and I don't know what it is, but you know, but that, you know, it's the mindset about failure, and it's a mindset about effort. You know, why are you putting in the effort to be successful at something? Why are you putting in the effort to be a better person? Is it for you? Is it for someone else? Why do I want to play guitar? Do I want to play guitar because I will benefit from learning to play guitar? Or do I want to play guitar because the benefit I might get from people saying, oh, that's really cool, you can play guitar, or play that song? You know, that's not a big enough motivator for me. So I'm not putting the effort into learning to play guitar. I have 4 guitars. I can't play any of them. In the past, I've blamed it on the guitar, but ultimately it's the effort. Has nothing to do with the guitar. It has to do whether I'm being disciplined and consistent in putting the effort to learn how to play guitar. I'm sure I can learn how to play guitar if I put the effort in, and if I have the passion, as Lawrence says, to do that. So, you know, Carol Dweck in her book, you know, said about effort. She said, effort is one of those things that give meaning to life. Effort means that you care about something, that something is important to you, and you are willing to work for it. So what are those things that you care about? What are those things that are important to you? What are those things that you're willing to put the effort in to be successful at? You know, people with a growth mindset don't shy away from hard work. They're constantly trying to get better. They're constantly trying to grow the growth mindset. You know, they see effort as the key to getting better at anything. You know, with sustained, disciplined, consistent effort, everybody on this call can be successful at the things that they care about, that are important to them, because they're willing to work for it and put in that effort. You know, the other thing about people with a growth mindset is that they're never discouraged by challenging tasks. They roll up their sleeves, they dive in, they continually try to excel at those things to be successful. You know, and another example is, you know, have you ever learned a new language or picked up a musical instrument? You know, my example, it's tough, but if you put in the consistent effort and the practice, you'll start to get the hang of it over time. You'll start to be more comfortable. You'll start to feel like you've mastered it a little bit more. So that's exactly what people with this growth mindset believe in. That effort is the path that leads to mastery.
And think about the fact how much effort we put into, if we want, into our families, into our financial situation, into the harmony with our kids. You know, there are always challenges that come up, but we always do have to, because we have a family, if we're responsible, put the effort to find a solution, because we're passionate about finding a solution, because it's our family. Could be our kids, could be our spouse, our significant other, our partner, whatever it is today, whatever. But it's an effort which we choose to do if we find something that motivates us as to why we want to get that particular issue resolved. So that goes for everything: money, family, kids, life, sport, whatever we do. There's an effort, and the effort is very, very important. And Mike and Dr. Joe put something in the chat here somewhere about the effort being talent, and effort equals skill, skill plus effort equals achievement. So there we have it. So then if we want, we can go on to mistakes are not failures if we've done the effort part.
Absolutely. So, you know, a quote that I read that will kick off this next topic is by Angela Lee Duckworth. Failure is not a permanent condition. You know, that's the great thing. I say this about success. The thing about success that's great is it's transferable. So if you're successful in one thing, you just take those skill sets that you used to be successful in that and incorporate those into your next endeavor or your next challenge, you know? So, you know, when you find yourself facing a tricky challenge, effort isn't just about working hard, it's about learning, growing, and getting better. So mistakes are not permanent. Failures are not permanent. We can learn from them, we can grow from them if you have the right mindset. If you have the wrong mindset, it's going to be very difficult. If you don't think that you can grow from these mistakes, from these failures, you're not going to. But if you view them as a way to grow, the growth mindset, then you will grow from those situations. You know, it's really hard to have that mindset when you feel like you've made a mistake or you've made a blunder, you know, but people with the growth mindset see it as an opportunity to learn and improve what they're doing, how they're doing it, mindset, all of those things. You know, nobody likes making mistakes. We all try to avoid mistakes for various reasons. The thing about it is mistakes are an integral part of life, learning, and success.
Yeah, I just saw here, somebody wrote something about golf, that, you know, they're not very good at golf, but they keep trying. And this goes into both of these, where we say, you know, it's like even farming. You hit a really good shot in golf, one good shot in golf that is like, wow. And that's what you remember. And that's what, excuse me, motivates you to keep going, even though the next 300 shots go into the woods, into the rough, into the sand, into everywhere else. But you remember that one. And that's what makes you persevere in trying to do that again. And then when you hit that one shot, you take it for granted maybe. But all the 250 or the 300 that you fail at, you're going to analyze and you're going to say, what did I do wrong? How can I make it better? How can I get that perfect shot again? So it's a question of repetition, but it's a mindset repetition about what we want and how we want to do it. So when we're looking at making mistakes, if we embrace the mistake, and it's not a mistake, it's a learning process. It's a lesson. It's something we can thank ourselves for having screwed up on something. At the beginning, it's embarrassing, it's awful, it's shameful, whatever it is that it goes through our mind. But then we got to tweak the mind and say, wow, even though I really sucked at that, I made such a problem, so bad, but you know what? This is where I failed. And next time I want to do better at this and this and that. And the more mistakes we make, the more perfection we can strive for, and the better we can become. And it's a mindset to never give up and to say, I will learn properly. I will make this right. I will make sure that I get it right. And each time we think we have, and then we say, I could have made added more to the talk I'm giving, or adding more to the conversation I had, or I could have listened more. I could have been a better listener. I could have been a better coach, whatever. But then we've got to learn from that. Use that mistake, that shortcoming as a positive, and learn from it. Say, wow, and now I know what I can do better. And then when you think you've mastered that, there's something else is going to come up and you say, oh, geez, forgot about that. So the learning curve is always going on. We continually learn. We are continually in this growth mindset, if we want to be, if we choose to be. And that is where the slaughterhouse of failure will not be in our destiny, if we persevere and we learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, so I'm going to use golf as an example, since Jane brought it up, because most people on this call have probably tried golfing, and it's not as easy as it looks, but when you practice over a long period of time, you'll get better. And so it's about, like most things in life, making a mistake is a step forward in your journey of learning and growth. And it's about trying to find the lesson hidden in those mistakes. So in golf, years ago, I'm not a golfer, but I do golf. Years ago, I wanted to learn to be a better golfer. So instead of getting out once a month, I started getting out multiple times a month. And guess what? I got better. What did I do to get better? I practiced my putting game. I practiced driving. I practiced my short game. I got good at, there's so many different facets of golf to be good. You need to look at your stance. You need to look at your swing. Are your clubs the right length for you? Are you practicing enough? So there's all of these different things that you need to get good at. And you need to know what your weaknesses are, and you need to know your strengths. I'm a horrible putter. Everybody makes fun of me because my putt, they're like, you're the worst putter I've ever seen, because I can't read the greens. I'll 4-putt, 5-putt every single time. It doesn't matter how far I put the ball from the hole. So I know that I need to put effort into being a better putter. So that's what I spend time doing, because that's how I'm going to become a better golfer, right? If your long game's good and your short game's horrible, you practice your short game. If your short game's great and your driving's horrible, you practice driving. And it doesn't matter what level of a golfer you are, you need to consistently be practicing those things. A professional golfer doesn't go out on the tour and play 4 days of golf and show up on Thursday and just play his first round. He practices his chipping game. He practices his putting. He practices his driving. He practices all of these different things. And these guys are at the top of their game. They're the top 200 golfers in the world. And they're still practicing. They're putting in the effort to become better. And they still make mistakes. If you watch a golf match, there's somebody inevitably hits it in the water or hits it into a trap, and it's a fairly easy shot, but they make a mistake. But then they learn from that mistake and they use it as a way to learn and grow. And so they'll go out and they'll practice that shot over and over and over until they get it right. So, golf's a great equalizer because it's a very difficult sport. There's just so many things that can interplay with playing a bad round. And there's a lot of things that need to go right to play a good round. But it still comes down to effort, being able to make mistakes and having that mindset that no matter how bad you play, you're going to wake up tomorrow and be better. And with like most things in life, you have to have short-term memory to be successful, because you can't play a bad hole. A professional can't play a bad hole and let that affect the rest of the other 18 holes, 17 holes. Because if they do, they're going to shoot a horrible round. So you have to have a short-term memory to forget about those things, forget about the mistakes, forget about the failures. They're in the past. Move forward. Think about the present and the future.
Hey, I got a quick story. If it's it, can I say something?
All right.
So a lot of you know that I grew up in golf. My father was a golf professional. He played the tour, but a story that my mother told me relates directly to this conversation we're having. He was playing in a pro-am in Ohio back in the 1950s, I believe, and my mother was driving the golf cart, and they played with a young amateur that day. And my mom later tells the story that God bless this young man. We spent most of our time in the woods looking for his ball. He kept knocking it into the woods. He's struggling. He's such a nice man. He tries so hard. He's very passionate about the game. Find something he's successful at. Many of you may know who this person is. His name was Jack Nicklaus.
Wow.
Well,
That's a great story.
fail your way to the top. We talk about that all the time. Fail your way to the top. Dr. Joe put on here, Darren Hardy, nothing fails more than success. The more you fail, the closer you are to, if you learn the lesson, the closer you are to success. And that's why we keep repeating, doing what we're doing, hopefully getting better each time until we perfect whatever we're doing. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be golf, could tennis, could be, relationships. It could be whatever it is. We've just got to keep on perfecting what we're doing, learn from the mistakes, embrace the mistakes, and grow from there, and have fun doing it.
Joe put in a great quote in here too. You fight great, but I'm a great fighter.
Yeah,
that's what Apollo Creed said to Rocky. That's a great quote, because you don't have to be the best at something to succeed, right? You just need to be willing to outwork other people, out mindset other people. I tell my nephews who are getting out of college and into their jobs, I'm like, look, you only need to be willing to do what 90% of the other people aren't willing to do. It's not a very high bar these days. And so if you want to be successful in your job, in your organization, as you start to get into the workforce, you just have to be willing to do more than the 90% of the people are willing to do. And 90% of the people are not willing to do that much. They just want to do enough to keep their job, to get their paycheck. They work 9 to 5. They show up at 9. They don't start work till 9 o'clock on the dot, and they leave at 5 o'clock. They're not willing to put in that extra effort. And we're talking about effort. What amount of effort are you willing to put in to something to be successful? If you've made the decision to do it, it obviously means something to you. You're passionate about it. But that in and of itself isn't going to make you successful. The effort that you expend is going to be equal to the amount of reward you're going to get out. So if you expend a lot of effort, you're going to see a lot of reward. It may not come today, it may not come tomorrow. So you need to be patient, because it will take time. Good things rarely happen overnight.
I highly recommend Jim Rohn, because Jim Rohn talks about this. I will make more effort You will do 10 calls, I will do 11. You do, 50, I'll do 60. And it's about, and this is where you're a good fighter, I'm a great fighter. That attitude, that mental attitude. That's why these calls, in my opinion, are so important for all of us, because it's about understanding what's in the mindset. Mindset is, in my opinion, everything when whatever we're going to do in life. So, if we want to succeed, man, just slog away, but learn from it. So
Yeah, the reasons I was really successful in med device sales is because I was willing to outwork anybody. And I'd tell people that. I'm like, I don't care how hard you work, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to do more hours. I'm going to do, talk to physicians more than you are. I'm going to spend more time with them. I'm going to be available at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be willing to not go to a concert on Friday night. I'll be there with the doctor at 11 o'clock on Friday night. I'm willing to sacrifice doing things to be successful and more successful than you are. And, I can tell whether somebody's going to be successful at something very quickly. And it's all comes down to customer service. And Lawrence can tell you, Jim can tell you, Michael can tell you, if somebody calls me or leaves me a text message, I get back to them immediately if I don't pick up right away. And that's part of the customer service. It's about making everybody within your organization feel like you're there for them whenever they need you. And, I always told people, I will get back to you within 5 minutes at the longest. If you call me, send me a text, send me an email of something that you need, and I can tell if somebody, I work with other companies and, some of their managers and stuff, like they won't get back to me for days. And I'm like, this is exactly why this person's not an entrepreneur. This is why they have a job, because they're not treating everybody like a customer. They're just doing the bare minimum that they need to do. And I've stopped working with companies because of that. It just frustrates me because I'm like, they're not taking their customers seriously. They're not taking their business seriously because they don't think it's important to get back to somebody for days on end. And I know they're not that busy. It's just they're being lazy. They're not putting in the effort. So next week, we're going to talk about challenges, looking at them as exciting, not daunting, and embracing change.
Dr. Joe's got his hand up.
Great. Joe, you got something?
I knew that was coming from you, Dan. Thank you so much for making me feel welcome and part of the contribution process here.
Hey, it's part of my charm.
Fantastic call. And I just finished reading the book Grit, and I didn't realize how much Angela Duckworth was drawing off of Carol Dweck's work from the book Mindset. And, having this fixed mindset versus a growth mindset makes all the difference, as you guys covered so well today. But she goes a step further, and the ability to see where things can get better, personal growth, it comes from optimism. So working with an optimistic person, they're always looking at how they can make it better. They're always willing on how they can improve on their past mistakes. That went great. Now, what can we do to make it better? And you can quickly detect a pessimist when they have a fixed mentality or they become hopeless and resigned versus looking at a possibility to make it better. That is the litmus test, if you will. Is the person you're talking to an optimist? And to go further beyond that, we're going to have positive thoughts and negative thoughts ourselves throughout the day, but we need to see our internal dialogue. And people who are willing to go the extra mile, pardon the pun, are always the ones who are going to give the extra service to people and give them the positive experience that they're always going to remember. So I really appreciate these calls, and it just so happens that I spend 60 to 80% of my time with my metabolic health clients on mindset, because if you don't get the mind right, it's hard to get the body and ultimately the soul in the right place where they need to be in order to prosper at anything they do. And if someone comes in with a fixed mindset, or they believe they're hopeless and resigned, or what's the use, I'm never going to lose weight, I point to where they've had success in the past and who they had to be to get that success. And they might not have the skill set yet to do what they want to do particularly, but if they realize that the skill set that they've had in the past is transferable to any endeavor they want to do now, including building a new skin organization, you just show them, you put a flashlight on what they've done, and it gives them the empowerment they need to become somewhat more optimistic, right?
Yep, absolutely. Great
Good job,
points.
Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
A flashlight on their past success. There you go.
You like that? It's like your embers. It's like the embers of their dreams. That's a Lawrenceism.
Kindling the embers of burnt tree.
There we go. Rekindle it with the possibilities that they don't even realize are right there in front of them. People
So
don't
you
realize how close
Did
they
you
are.
say that in Lawrence's voice?
What we're doing is putting a flashlight on the possibilities of the future for them, and by pointing to the achievements of the past.
I love that. All right, anybody else have, thanks, Joe. Anybody else have any comments? All righty,
All right.
we'll wrap it
Thank
up.
you, everyone. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for being on the call.
We'll see everybody next Friday. Have a great week and put in the effort to be successful at whatever it is that you want to be successful at.
Love you guys. Thanks so much. Have a
Listening
wonderful
to you all.
weekend.
Vince,
Thank you.
drive safely. Bye-bye. God bless everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.